I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th. And there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said
no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No,
Why?
because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi, Dad. I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with all decent clothes? Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
Everyone wants to hear what you have to say. And it's all about bringing Sebastian home and safely. So first, just express, I can't even imagine as a parent what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation right now? How are you coping?
Welcome, Mob Crew. Excuse me. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I got a frog in my throat. Let me fix this real quick. Happy Saturday, Mob Crew fam. Hope everybody is doing well. I am going to get a new mic when I get paid this month because I have looked at some of my past lives and I noticed, I think it's when I'm talking really close that it starts to kind of break up. So I'm going to get a new one here soon. So let me know how it sounds in chat. I kind of turned the gain down on it, so hopefully it doesn't get like too staticky. But yeah, I know it's always tough to see that intro. And then of course I played one of the interviews, the first interview Katie and Chris did officially with the news, and can't forget. How she busted up, nearly laughing, in my opinion, not taking it seriously. Let's see here. Let me just check chat. Yeah, do I sound okay? Yeah, like I said, got to get through a couple weeks till I get paid, and then yeah, I think this mic is it's done its purpose. Okay, sound is good. Awesome. All right, can always hear you good. Okay, that's good. As long as you guys can hear me, yeah, I still need to get a new one anyway. But all right, so I got a couple of things for today as live. At night posted something the other day that I was wanting to go over yesterday, but I just had a lot going on. But they released a phone call with the two former PIs, Heather and Chloe, speaking with former Sumner County Sheriff Sonny, as he'd go by, Roy Weatherford. Hopefully I pronounced that right. It's about a 7-minute phone call. It's pretty interesting. He talks about, what he could with the PIs. I'm sure probably a lot of you that are in here probably have heard it already, but if you haven't, it's very interesting. I don't know about that, Julie. I have not heard anything about that. I'd have to see an actual. We'd have to hear his voice. My question. Yeah, surely. I agree. I think that could be the catalyst for everything. Just child neglect, right? And then let the dominoes fall from there. But yeah, that's a great question. So we'll go over that. We'll go over the tail end of the timeline when on the basically the morning of the 26th. Go over that, and then as I was putting stuff together, because I got my ADD mind, I was listening to a lot of interviews, multitasking, and I think we've pointed this out, and I'm sure other channels have caught this, but it seems pretty scripted on how they talk. And I started putting two interviews together, and of course they're kind of close back to back as well when they did them. And oh my God, when you see them almost like side by side, it is almost like verbatim. And anyway, so I got that as well that we can look at. It is quite interesting. So,
He got picked.
before us, as how much is a new mic? Oh, it all depends. This one was a cheaper mic. I think this one was like maybe $60, like 60, 80. They can go, it just all kind of depends. I think you can go as easy as like 50 to, like, there's more professional mics, I think up in a couple hundreds, but as long as it works and does its purpose, I'll go with the cheapest thing, because to me, it's, I'm not about money. Anyway, but I appreciate that. But yeah, not too expensive. Anyway, moving on. Let's see here. Okay, I just want to address this. Because as you know, I'm getting some footage. That's obviously no secret. And we know how they kind of exploited this 1 year anniversary. And anyway, as I was going through and getting interview clips, I found the 1 year anniversary one. I just kind of came across it, and I wanted to play something from it. It's not long, just probably 2 or 3 minutes out of the 20-minute interview or something like that. But anyway, as most of you know, they tried to claim that they might have had new footage on the 1 year anniversary, and Fish Sticks was kind of building this up. Even, I think at least a month, talking before, maybe 2 months, saying, we have something. I know he said that on Lord Lodge. That was a month prior. But I swear, like in December, he might even mention something. Anyway, I have that footage. We kind of went over it, I think, the last live. But I'll show that again. But I just wanted to play this now, knowing
He's very correct. We're not.
the context. So we know that they lied. They know that they didn't have anything, right? And I just want to play this clip because it's just like now, knowing that they didn't have anything. But just listen to and look how crispy looks. Let's see. Did I have this zoomed in? I think it zooms out. But yeah, just listen to this interview and just keep in mind that they know what they have is BS, because we'll play the footage. Actually, maybe I should just play the footage first. That'd probably be better. Just for anybody that might have missed the other live. Let's do it that way. And then we'll come back. Okay. So if anybody missed it, again, we're getting more and more footage, and this is one, and I'm seeing more people, well, not more people, I've seen a few channels still try to go back to this, but I'm just going to play 3 main 3-minute clips, say that 5 times fast, and it involves the night that Sebastian disappeared, and it's the guy walking his dog at midnight, at exactly 12:12, and I just want to play this again. So here's the first 1-minute clip at 12:12, and that's when he comes out, and then he's going to walk along Devon Court. So just for anybody that doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about, back this up. Let me get rid of this. There we go. So quick little story. I guess I just have to have an address put in when it does that. It drives me nuts. It used to do that. Anyway, camera is pointing up Kellen right here. And it's this guy's house. And he's coming out. He's going to walk his dog. And he's going to go around this. And it's something he does all the time. And then he goes down Kellen, few, like 4 or 5 houses down. And then he turns back around. That is kind of his thing. And we mentioned that. So that is what's going on. And I just want to play this so that way if maybe the other side wants to look at it unadulterated. But I have the zoomed in version in the left corner there. But there is something I noticed in this footage. There is something else. Like I said, so many things I've discovered. I'm going to show you guys this here in just a second. This is the part where at 12:17, so 5 minutes later, after he's seen going up Devon Court, then he comes down Kellen, and you're going to see his shadow move across here. Turn my phone down. And there it goes. And this is slowed down, and there's the zoomed out portion. And then 2 minutes later, and this is what makes me so mad, 2 minutes later, so I know they had this footage. They had to have seen this. 2 minutes after that happens, we have this event happen at 12:19, and I think it starts about 40 seconds. And that is because clearly, if he's walking back up Kellen, and maybe he might have went down the other part where at the T and went east on Devon just to the part where the construction, because they had a mound, a dirt mound there. So maybe he just did that and then switched back. But either way, there it is. You can see right there the guy with the dog going back to his house. I know I played that last time, but I just want to play that one more time just in case the other, so hopefully the other side, because again, I'm still seeing some of those other people that want to claim that that's Sebastian. Again, if that was, then why, how come they're not talking about this movement, right? But obviously that wouldn't fit into their narrative because that guy's walking into his house clearly. The other thing, and sorry, and I'll read chat here in a second, but I did notice something in the footage, and I wonder, because Fishstick said that he was hiding behind a car and it looked like he ran. Well, it's kind of funny is all right, so here is, okay, let's see, 12:12. Okay, this is the one where he turns on his light. Okay, so we have that one. So he's going to go walk his dog. And then, okay, so that's when me zooming in on it. Oh, right here, right here. Okay, perfect. 1 second. Okay, this is the clip where at 12:17 where they were trying to say, because the guy's going to come walk behind this car with his animal and then turn around. There's actually something here, and I don't know if that spooked the dog or anything, but there's like I don't think it's big enough to be a cat, but watch this. This is right at the beginning of the clip. So this guy would be starting to walk down the street, but check this out. It's hard to see. You're going to, right from the tree, you're going to see something run about here, and then it looks like it runs back. Let me back it up. This is kind of interesting. And I apologize if you're on your phone. It's going to be a little hard to see, but okay, I went back a little too much, but. Okay, right here. It's going to zoom right in on it. Watch the tree. It moves now. Right there. You see it? I don't know if that's like a squirrel. I don't know if squirrels are common out there. It's right there, though. And it moves, and I can't quite tell if it goes back. It's to me, I don't think it's a cat. I think it's too small to be a cat. And again, I apologize if it, yeah, rabbit. Yeah, it could be a rabbit. Actually, yeah, actually the size of that, yeah, squirrel versus rabbit. I think that, yeah, rabbit would be closer. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting because that is technically at the beginning of the clip where the guy is coming down killing and then goes back the other way. And anyway, I just wonder if Fish Sticks and team even see that, or if he did, is that part of the reason why he was trying to say, oh, there's something running? Anyway, I don't know, but I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, I don't think it's a cat. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it's possible. It could be a small cat. It's tough to tell. But this is when the guy is walking, but turns back around. I'll play it one more time. I mean, it's small, whatever it is. It's so weird. It makes me wonder, like, when I examine more footage, what we may or may not notice that could be in here. But yeah, anyway, I thought that was interesting. That's right at the beginning of this big clip that they try to pass off, but everything else is going off, up the street. But I just wonder, did this animal maybe scare the guy's dog, and that's why they turned around? But again, word on the street is that typically he goes a certain amount of houses down killing, and then it just turns around. So anyway, I know it's not like huge, but I thought it was just kind of interesting. Okay, I will. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Julie, so much. Not necessary, but oh my gosh, thank you. I promise that I will use that to get a new mic. Wow. And Kimberly, I'm sorry, my PayPal's acting so weird. It's really slow. Kimberly as well. Thank you guys so much. That is so sweet. I promise you. I will look around and maybe get something a little better. When I got this was kind of cheaper, and I mean, it did its job, but I think it's kind of, I don't know, maybe the cord's getting worn out or something. But thank you guys. All right, let's get into the big stuff. But thank you, Julie and Kimberly. I was going to say Michelle. Thank you guys so much. That's awesome. So now I just want to play this clip. There's two main things I want to play, and then we'll get into the main topic. But just now know that Chris knows that he is bullshitting, right? So just keep that in mind and look at how he talks in his demeanor. And what I'm trying to kind of emphasize is, notice how it just seems like every other interview, he looks the same. He has that same demeanor. Just keep that in mind.
Health issues.
It's unnerving, basically.
It's right here. It's just 2 minutes.
And I know you both want to try to get the word out as much as possible, and that's what this story, obviously, that's what we're trying to do as well. There are many people who still do not know that you all have hired a private investigator. What can you tell me about the video that he recently has discovered and wants to share? I know this has been shared with authorities now.
Yes,
it has.
This is involving the neighborhood that you live in. Mm-hmm. What can you tell me about that video?
It's eye-opening to see that this is something that recently has surfaced, and it's been this long. It's just taken that long to find something.
Really? I mean, when I got that footage, I mean, I again, there's a lot of footage, so I'm not gonna say it. You know, you're gonna find everything. You know, but you know, when you're, I don't know. I'll get sidetracked, but clearly we know he knows that this is absolute dog crap. But look how he plays this off, even though he knows it's BS.
And what the video shows is kind of mind-boggling. We went from potentially not having a sighting to potentially having a sighting, and it kind of changes. Like, wait a minute, now we may have something to actually work off of and move forward with and see where this goes.
Yeah, that died about 2 minutes after that was posted.
Exercise every avenue till its fullest.
No
It
stone
doesn't matter.
unturned. No stone unturned. And Katie, you told me earlier you were determined to get to the bottom of this, to get to the bottom of that video.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything that could possibly be something that could lead us to him. We're going to keep looking. We're going to keep digging and keep finding and confirm if it is or isn't, because, I mean, if it's possible, then it's got to be confirmed.
How hopeful are you that this video truly has something that could lead to finding Sebastian?
I pray that if there is anything even remotely in it that could help us find Sebastian, I pray that it is I don't know how to word it, but it's followed up and found out and confirmed one way or the other, because, you know, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the video.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's in it.
Well, I'm sure you guys talked about it behind the scenes, allegedly, and thought, yeah, this would be a great 1-year anniversary to go, look what we've done. We got this PI, and look at this progress we're doing behind the scenes. And again, I know we've gone over this, but there's one more thing. And again, keep in mind, we know that this is all bullshit. And the fact that he's saying, he's seen the video doesn't surprise me. They're the one with the money hiring, fish sticks. But then the atrocity, the hypocrisy actually is the right word that he says right here. And then we'll move into the interview, the main topic, but I have much more to go over tonight's live. I will get to super chat and everything here in just a second, because there's a lot of stuff in there. But let me just play the hypocrisy at the end of this.
It actually gives us more rejuvenated hope that we may actually be onto something. We just have to run it down. We've got to figure this out. And with law enforcement doing what they can, and with the help of like TBI, the FBI, all of that. I mean, I believe Secret Service was involved in the beginning. Maybe they can look at this video as well. Let's bring people back to the table, and let's exercise every possibility of enhancing this video, looking at whatever, and
that's what I've been doing with other videos that have actually substance to them, such as the flashlight light video and the 3 a.m. car, which nobody has touched. Fish Sticks is about the only one, except he just makes some excuse, but doesn't even, I don't even think he thought about, well, did you even try to explain what the hell that is, right? Because we have the 3 a.m. lights, but then we have that vehicle in between, which they won't touch. And then the crazy thing is this whole thing with them, that house, and them recording, the thing that got their attention was the car itself. It just so happened that there was lights going on before and after that car. And it's almost a bummer, is I almost wish, in some ways I kind of regret making the 3 a.m. video, because that took off and now everybody's talking about the 3 a.m. flashlights. I know I was talked about in the beginning, but then it kind of died down. But then when I did my overlay, everybody was talking about that. But I almost wish I would have done the vehicle thing first and tried to force them to talk about that, because I think that would have been a lot harder to explain. Whereas the flashlights, we've seen how that goes. But yet they tend to ignore that. But the hypocrisy, here he is saying, yeah, we need to examine all the footage. Well, God, what the hell have I been doing? And not just me, but of course it's community effort, but it's just the atrocities. And Jess, thank you so much for always gifting a Mob Crew membership. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Melanie, you do great work as always. Thank you so much, Melanie, for the 7 months. Fly Girl. Chris, I hope you are feeling great. Thank you. I'm doing better. I'm not, 100%, but it's, day to day. But definitely doing a lot better. If you go back to from April to July, August, I mean, I was out. So I would say compared to early middle year to now, I think, much better, more better days than bad. And Jazz, I don't know if you did another one or if it just doubles up. I can never tell because it'll split it. But if you did 2 of them, thank you. And towards your new mic. Oh, thank you guys so much. I will. Cajun. Thank you so much, Cajun. I don't know if that was. Yeah, I don't want to. I always try to just use first names if I get like a PayPal or Venmo to be discreet. And Nina, towards the new mic. Thank you guys so much. Maybe that's a hint. I need to get a new mic. All right. So let me finish this. I think there's like 1 or 2 things. And then we're going to get to the interview. And then I've got a lot more, I promise you. Oh, Pixie, welcome. I hope you enjoyed the show. And yeah, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch.
Exactly what it is to get an answer.
Working on the ground.
Now, this is your chance to respond, to speak out, to speak your mind, whatever it is that you want to say. But no matter.
Okay, so that's that clip. But again, if you just go back and listen to that, and just look how, again, I'm not going to play it, but, just having the context, knowing that they know this is BS, right? They know that this was just a neighbor walking his dog. And there's no way Fish Sticks could not see the next 2 clips, because why wouldn't you? If you see, again, if you saw, a figure at 12:17 running kind of moving fast up Kellen, wouldn't you look at the next few minutes or next half hour or whatever to see like, okay, what else, is going on? And then, of course, 2 minutes later, the guy goes into his house. So, again, they knew this is BS, but anyway. Okay. All right. So the main topic, but we got 2 parts to the main show here where we'll go over his statement, kind of break down little interesting statements. We'll also touch on the tail end, just leading up to the, with the phone call and where KK drove, because I do think it's interesting, because it also relates to what he says in this interview. If you haven't heard it, it's only 7 minutes, but there's some very interesting stuff. And then there's even, if you want to kind of go down the conspiracy route, this Roy Weatherford, he was the, Sumner County Sheriff. He was kind of, it's kind of weird when you look it up. Like, technically it says he was the lead originally. And then even before he died, which was kind of mysterious death, weird. We'll talk about that as well. Craddock started kind of being the face early on in like April, because he did the press conference. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
So let me tell you.
So here is the release phone call. I thought we'd just kind of play it through, maybe pause it at a couple points, talk about it, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper into it and get your guys' thoughts. And then I also, at the end, will go over some scripted stuff with their interviews. I picked 3 or 4 interviews. Three are big. Anyway, and you can see where there is, in my opinion, it's scripted. So scripted, in my opinion. Yeah. So Rob C, so what I'm trying to do, because I know we have, what I'm trying to do is we have the 3M flashlights, the 3M unknown car, and then I say the 3AM Kellen car. That makes sense. Because, yeah, I do understand you have like 2 3AM cars until we can, merge them together, right? Officially. Yeah, I get it, Rob C. I could understand a little bit confusion. But I really try with the cars that show up on the 25th, 26th, and 27th. I try to refer them to the 3AM Kellen car. Okay. Yeah. And just the number 3, it's weird how much the number 3 comes up. Brenda with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. That is so awesome. But yeah, I promise you, I've got some very interesting stuff that, again, when you've just gone through this case so much, you start finding little details that are like, oh, wait a minute, that sounds familiar. Or, yeah. So anyway, let's get to this sheriff. So once more, real quick, this is Weatherford. And that's this guy. And look at this guy. I mean, this guy looks like, like an honest guy, right? So yeah, and unfortunately he passed in August. So let's listen to him. So I'm assuming this would have been Marchish, maybe late March, maybe Hindsight or somebody in the chat maybe knows the date of when this happened or approximate to it. But all right, so let's listen to this. So this is Roy. They went to Sumner County, and this is Heather and Chloe. These are the PIs for Seth. And let's just kind of play this through here. Very interesting.
Okay. We have done a 5-mile grid around the house, and we've done all that.
That's a good question.
We actually have where every person took a footstep to know we covered every block.
Right, you did the grid search. Okay.
And then we had them download an app that actually showed us where they were stepping.
Sartopo.
Yeah, so Sartopo, when we used it, we used Call Topo, so I'm assuming maybe I'm assuming maybe they're part of the same program, but they basically do the same thing. It's an app you download on your phone, and then you have kind of like a I don't know, campaign mission, whatever. You have a basically your main search, and then everybody has each individual app. It's the same app, obviously. Here it's the Sartopo. We use CalTopo, and again, it's more or less the same thing. And it just tracks your movement. You can, start it or, whatever. And it literally, as long as you got good signal, and if the signal's bad, you can actually pre-download, I think, the GPS coordinates around, and then I think it can still kind of tag your movements. But long story short, each individual has that, and this is where the advancement in searching for missing people, this is going to be a huge help, because we know there's all these cases we've heard time and time again where, such as missing 411, David Pilati, where they kind of talk about how, there's all these searches that go on, and then, months or years later, some random hiker or whatever, some random person comes along, and they find him right where a lot of the search happened, and not far from where they were last seen. It is, I don't know if common is the right word, but it happens quite a bit. So I think with this new technology, this should kind of help. They can see where the gaps are that they may have missed. Anyway, I don't want to get too off track, but that's kind of what they're talking about if you're wondering. And we've seen kind of some of their grid search maps, their master key map, at the command center, and all that data goes to one, the command center where they have, probably interactive map that they can see, who's done what, where, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So we knew exactly where they went.
Okay.
And so we've done that, we did it for a whole week. And then we've gone back and we did it another 2 days, 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And so we drained ponds.
I knew you guys did that.
We had divers in ponds.
Yeah.
We've got, as far as I know, all the footage of every camera that's.
Now, this is where it gets very interesting if you haven't heard this before. So now he talks about all the footage that they got, and here's his response.
On either street. And
just nothing.
That's nothing.
And of course, I mean, it's no surprise if you've been following this case. So many cameras, a lot of them in major key points. I mean, you got 2 cameras facing the front and backyard, with nighttime vision, which means if there's any kind of white that might be on this, even though I think it's very interesting. That of course Sebastian was wearing all black, except I think they screwed up when they told him that they were wearing Adidas pants, because it has those white stripes. And if he's walking anywhere in front of these cameras with those white stripes, again, just the white alone, not to mention that, there's different versions of these reflective, what they use in the material for the Adidas pants. But even just the basic brand, that isn't like made more tailored for like the cyclist or runners or whatever that may be running at night, where they use glass bead in the white so it reflects a lot more. But just even having those stripes, if he's walking around, there's just no way with some of these cameras, especially in nighttime mode, if he's coming out of that front door, I just cannot see how he would not be picked up on that camera facing the home.
We see him go into the house, but we never see him come out of the house.
So a lot of people are talking about that. I think, I think you still got to take it with a grain of salt, because keep in mind, this is still early days, right? And, maybe it's kind of like 1 or 2 departments saw, the footage of him allegedly taking the trash, but you can't really see who it is. But let's just say they're going off what Katie told them and said, yeah, he went and took out the trash. And so they look, they see this figure come out and take out the trash. But they can't really make out who it is, but they're still kind of, believing in the parents and not thinking foul play. Then I could kind of see where, again, we're only maybe a month or less than a month into the investigation. Maybe they're still, especially maybe Sonny, he's still kind of, trying to take them at further word, even though they have the footage, but, does that make sense to you guys what I'm trying to say? I'm sure it does. So I would still take it with a grain of salt.
So strange.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. But, we have footage where they were in Hendersonville eating, and they left there and went to their house.
Right.
We saw them go in the house, and then 6:20 maybe, he comes out and takes the trash to the end.
Now that timestamp's not right. I do wonder if he's got like a bunch of timestamps in his head. 6:20. It's actually like 6:22 is when they leave Texas Roadhouse. Now maybe he meant 7:20 Although I think he took the trash out around 7, at least according to Katie. But you know how much honesty they are. So maybe he got the hour wrong, or it could have been the 6:20 when I think she leaves the house in that morning, or the trash comes at I think 5:20. So I do wonder if there's a lot of something 20s, and but 6:20 they would be literally getting into the car, or just before that. So that 6:20 is not right.
The road at the end of the driveway, and we see him go back in the house, turn on some lights in his bedroom.
Which is very interesting. That means, of course, they're looking at the footage across the street from that neighbor, obviously from Sweetie Pilo, who spoke to this neighbor, got all those timestamps. We've gone over those a bunch of times, but very interesting. These lights, was this done on purpose? And keep in mind, I think one of the reasons why the lights were picked up. Oh my gosh, do I really have to put something in for you to stop it? Let me do this. Weird. Anyway. One of the reasons why this probably got picked up more is they didn't have their porch light on that night. Now, several people have driven through that neighborhood, one of them being Silvers, a couple times, and I know some others. And all the ones that I have seen, they have their front porch light on at night. But if that's off, that means this house is going to be a little bit darker. So whenever you have a light kick on in one of these 3 windows, and with it being at night, obviously because these cameras are now in nighttime mode, blacks and especially whites are going to stick out. And so whenever there's a light that's triggered, well, it's going to activate the camera to record. So that's why we have all these timestamps. Yeah, 5:12. Yeah, so 6:20, 5:20. Yeah, I do think maybe he was probably, yeah. I don't know, maybe it could have been 7:20 when he pulled out the trash. And maybe he just got the hour wrong.
That's it.
That was from a neighboring camera, I'm assuming. It's from a neighboring camera that you can see all that, yeah.
But like I said, when she called us, we had people go to the house, search the house. We even got thermal imaging to check all the walls in the house. Just to make sure that he went and stepped in a wall somewhere.
Now that's very, very interesting. Carolyn says, was the porch light on after they claimed after he claimed he went missing any other evening? Now, of course, there's only been so many people. We can only take a little sample, but the few people that have driven after he went missing, including Silvers a couple of times, the porch light is on at night. So, but this particular night, it was not on. We can see that, I'll show it eventually. So, was that just a strange coincidence, or was that deliberate? So let me back this up. Let's go back to this, because this is another one, and I want to run this through ChatGPT to see how often they would do this. But let's play this clip.
And
just nothing.
That's nothing. We see him go into the house, but we never see him come out of the house.
It's so strange.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. But, we have footage where they were in Hendersonville eating, and they left there and went to their house.
Right.
We saw them go in the house, and then 6:20 maybe, he comes out and takes the trash to the end of the road, at the end of the driveway. And we see him go back in the house, turn on some lights in his bedroom. That's it.
That was from a neighboring camera, I'm assuming.
It's
from a neighboring camera that you can see all that, yeah.
But like I said, when she called us, we had people go to the house, search the house. We even got thermal imaging to check all the walls in the house. Just to make sure that he wasn't stepped in a wall somewhere.
That is interesting. I have never heard of that. Not to say that it doesn't happen. Let me know your thoughts on that. But that is interesting. Thermal imaging. And if we get time, I will look up chat and GPT and just ask, like, how common is that, especially just with a missing person case, for them to do thermal imaging? Maybe it's more often than we know, but I have never heard of that happening. And I do wonder, again, it's a little bit out of my league, what would they need to be able to do that? Is that something that they need to get, I don't know if a warrant, but that sounds a little extreme, but I do wonder what they would need to kind of get to be able to do that inside the home. But that is interesting, Jennifer, do they have cameras inside the Proudfoot home? So this is if you're kind of near the case, or so this is the interesting thing. Katie worked for Brinks. She doesn't anymore, but before he went missing, she worked for Brinks Security. Before that, she was in the Navy and in communications. Very smart, very tech savvy. And there was rumors that they had cameras inside their home before he went missing. But it just so happens, just before he went missing, they decided to upgrade their equipment, so everything was taken out. And then weeks later, after he went missing, I'm not sure the exact date, maybe someone knows in chat, then they got new cameras inside their home. Seems a little backwards. So yeah, very suspicious. Okay, a lot of chat. If you guys can, please hit that like button. So much to go over, and if you're just tuning in, we're going over former sheriff. They called him Sonny. Looked like a stand-up gentleman, and I heard so far from just a little bit that people who spoke about him said that they really liked him.
Because we don't show him leaving the house, which is the strangest thing for me.
The footage of him taking out the trash, was it pretty dark by then? That was before the time change? It was before the time change, right?
And so the reason we went to the landfill in Kentucky was because the trash was collected that Monday morning.
Right.
Right about dark.
Right.
And so, I had, my opinion, one of the best teams. We had TBI, FBI,
Yeah.
Secret Service, we had TEMA, and then we had at least 200 volunteers that were in law enforcement or first responders on the ground every day. And I'm not telling you, I'm just trying to give you information on what we have done.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
And so we've even called people with like cold cases and say, how did you find them? This is what we've done. And every one of them tells us, you've done everything you can do except find it.
Right.
And I wish we'd get a tip today and we could find it.
You said within a 5-mile radius.
Well, that's land search.
Yeah, land search.
There's a creek, several hundred yards, Rex Creek. We had TWRA walk both sides of the bank and then the creek itself all the way to Hendersonville. And then they did it out towards White House. And like I said, every pond that we have been able to find has been searched.
And I assume that you're aware that right there on her, where those woods connect, that is a sex offender with 4 aggravated sexual assault charges.
I didn't know it, but
yeah.
So I don't do our list either. But I got one this morning that said that the stepfather drove up here and got him and took him back to the job site and buried him on the job site. I'm like,
you don't think
have you got proof?
Yeah, I mean,
so
I did get a tip.
Now, this tip is very interesting. I know this is kind of nothing new, but there's something she mentions that I kind of forgot about, and it just kind of backs up this tip. If you haven't heard this, so this is very interesting, and this is kind of what will tailor our main part of the show here.
I've been involved for probably a month now. I did get a tip a couple Mondays ago. A man drove up to me at the rudder, and he said the morning of the 26th, around 5:30 in the morning, Kathy Bowersox was parked right beyond the Shell on New Hope.
Okay, so anybody's just wondering where that is, and we'll kind of go over that timeline as well, because this is very interesting, because I think there is something to why Katie went to the school. So, and we'll go more in depth in here, but this is the Shell gas station, and next to it is what's called a Worsham's general store there, convenience store. And then next to it is the infamous storage unit, which people reports claim that they Stink Feet had one or more units here, which would make sense. I mean, it's right there close to your home. If you had just some extra things, this would kind of make sense if there was spots available. So I don't think that being a far stretch, but they said, oops, a little far. They said that they saw her parked. I'm not sure where. I don't know if it was on this side, kind of more. Actually, I think I've heard it was parked somewhere around here. I don't know if somebody chat knows a little bit more. I agree, Shirley. And yeah, we will talk a little bit about his death as well when we get to it. We'll kind of got a lot of different avenues, but yes, we'll definitely touch on that. But this is where it gets interesting. So they explain this tip, but they don't get just one, they get multiple.
He said he had called it into Sumner County, but he hadn't heard anything back. And I believe Sebastian's dad called it in again. I'm sure footage has been pulled from the Shell right there. I don't know what other cameras would be right there. It looks like maybe there's like a storage unit kind of thing right beyond that Shell, Worsham's Market, And the only reason I really believe there is validity, number one, I didn't feel like the man was lying to me, but also it was anonymously posted from someone, I think it was someone else because they described it a little bit differently.
You're talking about the mothers?
The Christopher's mother.
Okay.
Kathy Bowersox. Apparently has a decently recognizable SUV, probably because she's a real estate agent, that she was parked beyond Worsham's on the side of the road at 5:30 in the morning on February 26th, so about an hour before Sebastian was reported missing. I don't know. That's a little odd to me.
Yeah, so not just one, but two possible credible tips with two people describing two different things. So it's not like one person, maybe told them over the phone or something with the tip, and then and then went on like a Reddit or something or a Facebook group and then typed out the same thing. Apparently, this appears to be a possible second witness describing similar but slightly a different way than the other person explained it. So I find that very interesting. We've always kind of mentioned that here and there with the Kathy Bowersox. I don't think we've really deep dived that. But again, if she's there, what are the odds she's there the morning that he goes missing? And not only that, if she was there, then we're going to have Katie literally drive over in that direction. And let me know in chat, maybe hindsight, if she's still in here. If anybody knows where I could find the screenshot. I swear there's a screenshot of the anonymous tip somewhere. I could be wrong, but I swear I thought I've seen that going around back in the day. And again, I can't remember if it's on Reddit or probably more likely some kind of Facebook group or something. But if anybody knows, let me know in chat.
And I just wanted to make sure y'all did have that tip.
I can tell you, I don't know all the.
Maybe, well, I guess maybe hopefully Carter has that tip.
I mean, I could say everything goes to him.
Right.
Is he available?
He's not here today.
Yeah.
I was supposed to have an interview with him for a promotion.
Oh.
He got sent to another county.
So Carter, we have Brandon Carter, who's kind of now, on the lead right now as far as under Sumner County. He's kind of the unless, it'll change. But right now, Brandon Carter, is kind of, from what I understand, is the lead right now.
On a case.
Gotcha.
All right.
All I can because TBI, and so we really can't release more than what I've told you right now.
Yeah, and that's
You can't release the missing persons report, like the initial report, not the police report, but just the.
Yeah, see, Craddock, I need to get that report for the Q Center, and Craddock called me and said y'all can't release it, and I'm like,
because it's an open case.
Yeah, but I mean, the nonprofit organizations that do the searches, they get copies.
They work open cases.
That's how they do it. And so,
Just
I'm not really sure why
odd.
we can't get that for them.
When they told me you was here, I told them to go find him.
Yeah.
Because I knew he had talked with you.
Right.
But he's at lunch.
Mm-hmm.
How convenient. Eric Craddock is at lunch.
He's doing interviews also.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And so I had the last interview for the morning. And so when I got through, they had left. Okay. I said, are y'all going to do me? But anyway.
They left you to deal with me on your...
Yeah, to deal with this. Yeah.
I like this guy. This guy seemed very genuine, and it bums me out. I wonder if this whole case would be completely different if this guy sadly did not pass away under, in many eyes, or some eyes, under suspicious circumstances. And we'll kind of touch on that for a sec, but yeah, I do wonder would things be different if he was still in charge.
These pesky PIs.
Yeah.
My God. All right. So, I don't know. We
As soon
won't...
as he gets back, I'll talk with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
We're not asking for a file. We're not asking for even, just the missing persons report.
Yeah, and I don't, again, I don't need you to tell me what you're doing or what you know. I just want an open line of communication so that I can share with you what I'm finding out.
Okay. So I would recommend that you either talk with Brandon Carter. And I hate to say it, but the longer this goes, the more I feel like it's not going to be good for the family. I hope he comes back safe. I really do.
Of course, yeah.
But I don't, it's not looking that way the more we go.
Yeah.
And I like his honesty. I like, and I'm sure clearly, I'm not sure his age. Maybe somebody knows in the chat. I guess I could look at his birth and date. But clearly he's seasoned veteran, and but he seems more like a straight shooter.
But longer time span.
Have you talked to the sex offenders and gotten alibis and all that?
I can't.
Yeah, you don't know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to push you, but...
I'm the sheriff, but I
Yeah.
don't
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Because
Yeah.
we have still so many things going on.
Right.
But I can please tell the family.
Yeah.
We're working on it every day.
Right.
Well, he's not been forgotten by us.
So 60, 40, 64 or 65 would be his age. Gosh, that's just going into retirement. I mean, man, he still had a lot more time. That's such a shame. Right. I really do think things would have been different. So, thank you, Cajun. Yeah, 65. Okay, so 65. Yeah. Yeah, that's truly sad. So, before we get into more, because I promise you, we've got some very interesting stuff that I'm going to pull out. And we're going to go over this timeline about Kathy Bowersox. We've kind of touched on it before, but I thought we'd dive a little bit deeper into it. And yeah, but before we do that, let's quickly just touch on this real quick. Okay, let me take a sip here. I'm just going to go over, I'm not going to read everything, but so I forgot to ask when he started. But what was his connections to the case? So it says he was lead agency in the Sebastian Rogers case, and his office participated in the Kentucky landfill along with TBI. Weatherford convened meetings between TBI and Sumner and the parents. He also made a public statement, which I wanted to check this out. I don't know if I've seen this or not. So let's just look at this. I don't know if there's anything to this, but I'm curious. I have not.
We won't sugarcoat it. Our world isn't always fair.
Oh, it's only 20 seconds. That's not big.
County Sheriff's Office met with Sebastian Rogers' mom and dad today. We're now working to get more details about the meeting. It's now been more than a month since the 15-year-old disappeared. The United Cajun Navy is leading the search along with Sebastian's father. So far, investigators say there's no evidence that there's or is not any foul play.
Right.
Okay, that must be in the notes in here. No. Why did it give me this? This doesn't talk. Oh, it just mentions him in the beginning. Confirmed that the meeting occurred. Wait, what meeting? Okay, so this is March 28th. Okay, TBI in Sumner County held a meeting with the biological parents on Thursday. That the meeting occurred but did not reveal any details on why the meeting happened or who was the lead during this meeting. That is interesting. That timing, March 28th. So, interestingly enough, even though this guy sadly didn't pass away until August of that year, Craddock, all of a sudden, he does. So keep that in mind. That's March 28th. There's this meeting, and maybe there's multiple reasons why they're doing this, right? But maybe one of them is Craddock is now going to start taking the lead because it just so happens on April 2nd, Craddock is the one that does the press conference. So I wonder if that was kind of part of it. Let me know what you guys think in chat. So let's just kind of fast forward just a little bit, just about what happened allegedly. So he died on August 2nd. So many months after Sebastian went missing, but it seems after that first, March, really, first full month, after that, it seems Craddock was now the lead. But it says local reporters say he sustained a serious head injury after a fall and that his death followed that injury. Some agency posts described a sudden medical condition. There had been obituaries and a formal funeral. There was no criminal investigation, but some people wonder, apparently he was attending this conference and then he had a fall and hit his head, and then maybe that head injury got, it was a, much more serious head injury, and then died. But yeah, and I don't know if anybody knows a little bit more they could add into any more details about that. But then it says, Craddock became intern sheriff on August 26th, and then obviously had an early thing where he filled in for the rest of Sonny's whatever time he had left as sheriff. That term. That's what I'm looking for. Term. But yeah, April 2nd, Craddock. That's where he's at the press conference. So kind of interesting. Yeah. So let me get rid of that. Yeah, a lot of people, even including there's a lot of locals too that feel like, man, this is, yeah, we need an autopsy. I agree, Neuro, for sure. Yeah, a little suspicious. Play devil's advocate, maybe he did have some kind of medical condition. Maybe that's why Craddock took over earlier, because maybe, again, I don't know, unless like family members or somebody that knows a lot more about Sonny that would be willing to speak about, was there, signs of some kind of declining health, or was it just, a strange coincidence that this happened? I don't know. I do feel like with Sonny, we'd be in a much different position. What's funny is I think I heard that, but I always want to be careful with those kind of rumors, but I think I've heard that, Wild Child. Interesting. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, though, if that's true, because then I would say maybe, were they trying to get to him? I don't know. So anyway, before we get to Mama Socks and that, in the timeline at the end, because there's some interesting stuff, but while I was doing that, I was listening, I was multitasking, I was working on things and listening to different interviews. And, I'm sure a lot of us here heard them a bunch of times, but I'm going to show you something very interesting about this. So, I am going to quickly use the restroom. I'm going to just play this full screen. This is
roller coaster ride of helpless.
We're going to focus on 3 main interviews. The first 2 public ones, which is
and hopeless, and many other emotions all in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop.
Oh, it takes forever for that to pop up. March 4th, day 8. Remember, they did a couple before that on YouTube's on some different YouTube channels, obviously, Dutch's and was there one more? Maybe Smiley's before this one, but at least 2. But this was the first official one, so nearly a week later, and there is some very interesting stuff. But I'm going to show you guys the scripted stuff in here, and I promise you it's worth a look. I'm going to go full screen real quick, let this play. And yes, some very wild stuff in here. So I'm just going to quickly use the restroom. I'm going to go full screen for you guys.
All in one, and it's a never-ending roller coaster. It doesn't stop. It won't stop until he walks through the door.
I wouldn't wish this on anyone. Not anyone.
I know we're about keeping hope alive. I'm sure that's in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna come home.
He's gonna walk through that door. And this street will be flooded again with family and relatives all waiting to hug him, love him, and
That boy's gonna have more friends than he knows what to do with when he comes home.
So, here we are, 8 days now searching for him. Walk us through that Sunday night that he went missing. So walk us through, we've got so many people who really want to know, okay, how did this happen? So kind of just walk us through that night.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room.
Okay, it helped to have the mic on. Okay, so I'm not gonna play all of this because I'm gonna play highlights, and I promise you this will be well worth it. But there's something I noticed with this first interview, and I think I know what's going on. And I find it very, very interesting and suspicious at the same time. So, watch what happens. I'm gonna play it, but notice she's gonna ask a question, right? She's gonna start getting into the timeline, and you're gonna watch. She'll start to answer the question, right? Keep in mind this is the first time now. It's not YouTube's. This is on local news. Gonna be big. And I just want to show you now. Obviously, this is the full, because if you guys really know about this case, know that this is the full interview that they released on their website. They had a much shorter version on like their actual news. But here's the full version. But notice you're gonna see this happen time and time again, where she asks the reporter asks a question, Katie will start to answer it, and then there's a cut back to the reporter, and I'll tell you what's going on.
When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom, I love you." Say goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there.
So in your mind, that's you.
So there's one cut right there. So that means that she probably, because we know in some of the other interviews, like Chronicles Olivia, you'll see she'll answer it, and then she starts doing this, or she's doing this deep sigh, and it's almost like she's trying to give herself time to, in my opinion, allegedly get the script right. So just watch this. This is a common theme. So there's one.
Usually around what time? When do you normally wake up? Around 6 o'clock?
6.
So
whatever happened, she answered 6 and then didn't expand on that. So now the reporters now they got to cut back because they don't want dead air, as they call it.
Were you instantly thinking something's wrong, or were you like, he may just be already in the shower, in the living room?
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
Here, guess what's coming up?
And so at that point,
another cut back to the reporter. So I'm sure if you guys know, they have two people. They got 2 camera operators. I don't know, maybe another one, but at least 2. So they have one obviously facing the stink feet, and then another one facing the reporter. And then obviously, if there's going to be dead air where she's just gives a short answer and not expands on that, well, obviously they just want to cut that up. So here we go, back to reporter again.
Is that when you call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and here we go.
And that, again, I know I pointed this out, but what the hell, Crispy? Here we go. As if you knew this was coming, and it's like, well, we decided this, and we know what's going to happen right after. Everybody's going to, law enforcement and news agencies, everybody else, is going to come down on this. And so his reaction, here we go, almost like he was anticipating it. Raymond Thomas, thank you so much for giving a Mob Crew membership. I really appreciate that. God bless you. But I promise you, this is going to get even crazier. So
you said you were on the phone with her, so you were not home.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I was at work. I'm a tower crane operator, and I was working in Memphis at the St. Jude Project. So it's, I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the radios. So when she was talking to me, I was like, what? I was confused.
Okay, so I am going to skip this. I was going to play all the interviews all the way full first and then get to the crazy stuff, but I just want to get to the meat and potatoes because I promise you guys, wait till you see this. This is wild. Except for one thing. Hold on. Let me play this one. This one's now I could be wrong. This is either March 6th or 7th, so either day 10 or 11. Let me know in chat. I can't remember. I know she says it in this, but I just I just want to point out one thing that she mentioned in this, and I promise you we're gonna combine these interviews, and I promise you guys you're gonna see something wild.
I can't put words to how hard this has been and how much it hurts not knowing where.
What about for you?
Off of, but
we're trying to make sure that everyone. Very first reaction was, oh, he got up and got breakfast. But when I realized he actually wasn't in the house, I've never experienced
that happen, from Sunday leading up to Monday.
Okay, she goes over the timeline. Now I want you to notice something. There's something that I'm like, oh my God, how? And maybe other channels have maybe talked about this. I certainly haven't, and we'll show you here in just a minute.
You didn't see him that morning.
Sunday, we were out and about. We had a really good day. We were out doing our thing, running around. We had dinner that evening, and when we came home, we had a pretty good evening together as well. He was playing right up until bedtime, and then some. I let him stay up a little late. And when I told him to go to bed, he's like, I love you, Mom. I love you, puppies.
Okay, I want to back this up. Sorry, it popped up right as I was reading chat. Okay, I want to play this part real quick.
I've never known pain like this before.
Yeah, should I go back?
And walk me through the events that happen, from Sunday leading up to Monday when you didn't see him that morning.
Sunday, we were out and about. We had a really good day. We were out doing our thing, running around. We had dinner that evening, and when we came home, we had a pretty good evening together as well.
We had a pretty good evening together as well. Keep that in mind. I promise you, this is something that I've noticed that they completely disregard and skip over in all future interviews. And I'll explain what I'm talking about.
He was playing.
He was playing.
Right up until bedtime.
Right up on bedtime at 9 p.m. So she's basically talking about between 7 and 9 p.m. approximately. Because, they left Texas Roadhouse at 6:22. Get home 6:45-ish. take out the trash around 7, maybe 7:15, somewhere around in there. But from there is basically between 7 and 9 p.m. Well, before he went to bed, there's a whole 2 hours. Keep that in mind. These are, according, for your mother, so many mothers and grandmothers out there. These are, according to their story, these would be the last few hours you saw your child. Now keep that in mind.
And then some, I let him stay up a little late. And when I told him to go to bed, he's like, I love you, Mom. I love you, puppies.
So now I'm going to skip forward, but you're going to notice they don't ever mention, and why is it that they never... Okay, I got this. They never talk about between 7 and 9, right? You would think, again, like I said just before, you would think these are the last couple hours with your child before he goes to bed. Last time you've seen him, you would think there were, and she said right there in that one interview that they played, right? So how does she not have some kind of, some particular memories or bring that up, in future interviews? And could it be that maybe that's just because he wasn't even there? Again, depending on what side you fit on as far as did he actually really make it home or not. But yeah. Oh, right on, Lisa. Is that Pocahontas? Did you change your name, Lisa? Is that or Lissa? I'm sorry, I got distracted, but oh, that's awesome. Let me know, because yeah. Anyway, all right.
We were laughing, we were joking. He talked to family on the phone during breakfast to brag. We went and picked up our niece. Yeah, I got a call, and
so now this is, those two first interviews with the news were kind of back to back, more or less. Day 8 and day 10 or 11, and now we've got a full, basically this is like week 3.5 since he went missing.
asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so he was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise.
Let me back this up real quick.
Came home to put groceries away because we bought snacks because, he's 15 and snacks. We went to the bowling alley, and then from there we went to dinner. Came home. He took out the trash because that's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway. About 9 o'clock.
Boom. Skips right after. There's 2 hours, right? If you think about it, there's 2 hours that she allegedly in this, on that one interview says, we kind of played. They're gone. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I can't, because when I first started seeing that name, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know, Alyssa. Gotcha. Good to see a BMW as well. Yeah, in your opinion, they know exactly where he's at. Explain no real motions and why they carry on these lives. Yeah, I agree. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something very interesting. I mean, I promise you, this is build up, and then we'll get to the finale with the timeline with Mama Socks and everything. So, but watch this. I promise you, there's so many things. My ADD mind is because I kind of want to do something where we could interact with the live a little bit more. Because I've been doing a lot of technical stuff, which in my opinion can be exciting, but I know it's kind of more one-sided. And anyway, so I want to show you guys just some very interesting things. I promise you, this is very.
What were the
wow.
few after I looked? Miracle.
Okay.
Playing in his, he was like, go back to the house.
Okay, here we go. Is it scripted? You know what? Let's just boy, if I can spell right. Oh my god. That's so tiny. Pre-scripted the interview and story ahead of his time. Okay, maybe wait to answer this. But I promise you, I've got something really good. Okay, totally scripted. No, I don't think so. Okay, here we go. All right. I've got to pull up, but wait if you can, wait to vote first. Okay, here we go. Check this out.
They're on their way, and I ran back.
somebody people are already, but wait, again, just check this out.
Well, drove back to the house, and
it's coming up.
days later, we haven't found him.
Okay, so here we go. Here's a couple of clips. Now listen to the verbiage.
We were out and about that day. We were having a really good weekend. We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did.
Okay. Notice we had a really good time. She actually emphasizes that twice. We had a really good time, really good weekend. Now listen to this part. This is the interview done just a few days after that.
Sunday, we were out and about. We had a really good day. We were out doing our thing, running around. We had dinner that evening, and when we came home, we had a pretty good evening together as well. He was playing right up until bedtime.
One more time. Sorry guys, but just listen to that. I wish I would have had a little bit more time and then to overlap them. I just didn't have enough time to.
He did.
Oops.
Sunday, I can't find our son, and I drove over by my Jericho, and he was playing in his room. We were out and about that day. We were having
Out and about.
a really good weekend.
Really good weekend.
We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. Sunday, we were out and about.
Sunday, out and about.
We had a really good day.
Really good day.
We were out doing our thing, running around. We had dinner that evening, and when we came home, we had a pretty good evening together as well. He was playing right up until bedtime.
Playing, the other one, she says he was playing in his room.
We got home. Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told him to go to bed, he did. He said, "Good night, Mom, I love you." Said goodnight to his puppies. A little bit later, I wound up going to bed, and when I told him to go to bed, you know, he's like, "I love you, Mom, I love you, puppies," and he went to bed.
Just like the one just before. Good night. Love you, Mom. Love you, puppies.
And I went to bed around midnight. About 9 o'clock. Told him to go to bed.
Oh, there's so much more.
And he's come out of his room where he was playing, and he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. I love you." And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise, and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep." And a little bit later I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes. About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
Not in the house. Notice the inflection? Inflection? My dyslexic mind. Please correct me in chat. You know what I'm saying, but the way she says that.
Everything seemed fine. And when I went to wake him up for school, that's when I couldn't find him. He wasn't in his room, and he wasn't in the house. And that's when I panicked.
And when you panicked, what'd you do?
First thing I did was call my husband, and I said, "He's not here." My husband said, "What do you mean he's not here?" I said, "He's not in the house." I see him in his room.
Same way she said it in the other one. Inflection. Okay, yeah.
I looked all over. I ran through the whole house. I looked out all the doors and windows, and I was like hollering his name. And I picked up the phone and I called my husband, and I said, "I can't find him." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "He's not in this effing house. I can't."
So notice, I think, now check this out. I think, so remember, the first two I played were the exact same inflection and everything. He's not in this house. Here, now, it's 21 days later. So I think they looked back at their, interviews and like, okay, we need to change up the verbiage a little bit. But notice, if you take out effing, it's basically the same thing. But I do wonder if that was to kind of like, oh, you know what? We need to add a little, oomph to that. But, I mean...
He's like, "I love you, Mom. I love you, puppies." And he went to bed. And I went to bed around midnight. About 9 o'clock. Told him to go to bed. And he's come out of his room where he was playing. And he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. I love you."
Oh, sorry, I went back a little bit too far.
I wound up going to bed, and when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get
There's
breakfast
more.
or something.
There's
He did
more
that
to this. It's
sometimes.
crazy.
About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, "I can't find him." He said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" I said, "He's not in the house."
And then she breaks after that.
Everything seemed fine. And when I went to wake him up for school, that's when I couldn't find him. He wasn't in his room, and he wasn't in the house.
Oh.
And that's when I panicked.
And when you panicked, what'd you do?
First thing I did was call my husband, and I said, "He's not here." My husband said, "What do you mean he's not here?" I said, "He's not in the house." I see him in his room. I looked all over.
They're not in the house. Joe, thank you so much. That might have been because I cut out the part before, so you may not have the context about that. Let me write that down. Because again, I'm cutting these up, so she may have mentioned that before.
I ran through the whole house. I looked out all the doors and windows, and I was like hollering his name. And I picked up the phone and I called my husband, and I said, I can't find him. And he said, what do you mean? I said, he's not in this effing house.
So same exact thing. So what do you mean? The same thing how she said before, but the only difference is now she adds that effing, only the only difference.
And when I told him to go to bed, here, my husband said, what do you mean he's not here? I said, he's not in the house. That's when and he went to bed. And I went to bed around midnight. Everything seemed fine. And when I went to wake him up for school, that's when I couldn't find him. He wasn't in his room, and he wasn't in the house. And that's when I panicked.
And when you panicked, what did you do? First thing I did was call my husband, and I said, he's not here. My husband said, what do you mean?
She says,
I'm there. Night puppies, love you. And went to bed.
911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone.
Yeah, and
Through the door.
Everything was pretty normal. He was playing in his room. When I told Mom I love you.
So in your mind, that's usually an hour in the living room?
About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him.
oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, on that one, yeah, she does. Yeah, that's a good catch, Joe. Yeah, you are right. Okay, now a couple more things. Let's see. Okay, yeah. All right, just two more things, and I wish I had more time to dive into this, but I'm just going to point out two for right now. I think these are it. Just 1 second here. I promise you this will be good. I think I wish I could find more examples or had more time to find, because I'm sure there is. We know, for those that are very, into this case, know that Crispy tends to take over the conversation. There's always a point where there's like a handoff, right? I noticed, and I'm sure others have, but watch what happens. There's always, at least so far what I'm seeing in a few of these, and I may need to look deeper into the other ones if I had more time, because I just had so many avenues I was doing for this show. But check this out. Before he takes over, there's something he does in a couple of these.
Call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department and made the report.
I ran all over the house, outside, inside. I looked in every closet.
Within minutes, they were here. They responded within minutes, and we called the sheriff's department. After we called the sheriff's department,
But go to sleep. And a little bit later, I wound up going to bed. And when I woke him up for school, he wasn't there. But go to sleep.
Oh, there it is.
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up.
Okay, so watch this. She's finishing this up.
And was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes.
Now watch what Crispy does.
About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him. He said, what do you mean you can't find him? I said, he's not in the house.
Boom. Right there. Now, this could be nothing. Maybe I'm overlooking this, but I think this was a signal for him to take over, right? Like, she's got her script. She's got to get it to where, now she's calling him, right? And so that way he can take over, even though he's in freaking Memphis. Why does he need to explain what's going on? But I just want to play this. Watch what he does. He does this inhale. Now, again, I could just be over analyzing this, but this is not the first time he does something like this before he starts talking. This is what's interesting.
I took a second and walked through the house looking for him in case he'd gotten up and was trying to get breakfast or something, because he did that sometimes.
Here it comes.
About 3 minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him. He said, what do you mean you can't find him? I said, he's not in the house.
So he does that deep breath, and then guess who takes over after that? Was that him? Like, okay, that's it. You've got to me. Now I can take over. That way, if anything comes back, it's me speaking about the timeline after this, and No, and then notice the like, oh gosh, okay, I got through this.
Everything seemed fine.
We called the sheriff's department.
He said, what do you mean you can't find him? I said, he's not in the house.
There it is. Okay, that's okay. I did get it.
And so at that point, is that when you...
And of course, this is what happens right after.
Or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and
so this is just showing you, right after that inhale, and she does her exhale. Now it's crispy.
I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay, well, hold on a minute, and immediately we have to.
Okay, so then we got this infamous one.
So it's, I have an earpiece in that talks to my phone. I have another earpiece in that does the videos.
I totally agree.
So when she was talking to me, it was like, what? I was confused. We talked about where he could possibly be, and then we went from there. And
oh yeah, hush pop.
I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood and I drove over by the school, and he's already at this point I was hysterical and I was crying, I was screaming, and
and there's the sign.
He was like,
because what does she mention? Now she's going to get to the three-way, and then what? Crispy takes over.
Three-wayed. He three-wayed law enforcement and was telling them our son is missing and we don't know what's going on, and he was like, go back to the house, they're on their way, and I drove back to the house, and
do you hear that? Man, I wish I had more time to do this. There's something he does, and it comes from Chris. You can see in his chest. So he already did that cough. Have we ever seen him ever do that ever again in any interview? This weird, not to say anybody couldn't have a cough, but doesn't that just seem like a forced cough, right? It's like it's super dry, like you've got nothing in there. But then there's this little, and I should enhance the audio. I'm telling you guys, you may hear it. I'll tell you when it comes. It's right at...
at this point, I was hysterical and I was crying, I was screaming, and
so there's that. I mean, come on.
He was like, three-wayed. He three-wayed law enforcement and was telling them.
Okay, it's coming up. Watch his chat. Oh, I'm pointing at my own screen like, hey, look there, guys. Look, can you see where I'm pointing? Okay, not only does it do that, but watch his chest. There's this, I don't know what he does. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it comes from his body. You're going to hear it.
Our son is missing and we don't know what's going on, and he was like, go back to the house, they're on their way, and I drove back to the house, and
right there. Was it right there? That's very soft.
Three-wayed. He three-wayed law enforcement and was telling them like our son is missing and we don't know what's going on. And he was like, go back to the house, they're on their way. And I drove back to the house, and
It's there. I had the alert go off. Oh, the timing of the alert. Thank you though. I don't know if that was somebody subscribing, but anyway, maybe I'll have to, croak or something. Yeah, it's there. I'm telling you, I'm like, oh my God, you can hear it in the headphones. One more time because somebody did the thing, and then we'll move on.
like at this point I was like hysterical, and I was crying and
Just
screaming, and
a little too far back.
he was like,
About 10 seconds.
He three-wayed law enforcement, and was telling them like our son is missing and we don't know what's going on. And he was like, go back to the house, they're on their way. And I drove back to the house, and
If you had your headphones, you can hear this. And again, maybe it's coming from, because I know there's a bunch of people behind this YouTuber, people, camera guy, the interviewer. Anyway, it's weird. It's just a noise anyway. I don't know if that's him, just another signal, kind of more nonchalant. He did something with his chest to be like, okay, finish up. But yes, the eye movement, that could be a whole other video. You know what's funny, before we move on, is if you look at all their interviews, 9 out of 10 times, that's even Nancy brought it up, like they are looking down. And you know what's funny is Crispy at times will then look up, like, when we're, when normal people, behavioral analysts, if we're trying to remember something, we're typically eyes are up, trying to recall. If we're looking down, that usually means we're lying. And then no eye contact with the interviewers. And it's so funny because Crispy, you'll notice throughout some of these interviews, there'll be just one of these few moments where he's being asked maybe like work or like, I'm a town crane operator, whatever. So he'll go up and look up as he's trying to recall a moment, but then, the other 99% of the time it's eyes are down.
20 days later.
Oh, Lisa says it was Olivia, her mom, and camera guy. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Interesting. Oh, I didn't know her mom worked with her. That's kind of cool. Work with your mom with doing stuff like that.
We haven't found him.
Yeah, some people might have heard it. And I'll maybe if I get time, I'll see if I can like slow it down and maybe extract it to see if there's something more there.
Yeah, I can't even do struggle, but he's very smart. Serious.
Morning, Kathy Bowersox was parked.
Okay, so now let's finish up with the timeline here. Oh yeah, again, Lisa. I mean, that is in like 95% of their interviews. It's never about Sebastian. It's about, oh my God, yeah. It's disgusting. It is truly just horrific. So, all right, let's get to dive a little bit deeper into this Kathy Bowersox and the last part of the timeline to finish up here. And I really appreciate everybody on the Saturday evening, morning, or wherever you're at. I really appreciate taking the time to watch the show. And thank you to my wonderful mods as well on your Saturday helping out.
For the most part, he's a happy kid. And
but again, the other thing I wanted to mention, I completely forgot. Keep in mind, once from that first two interviews, but especially that second one, it is the first two, where she talks a little bit about after he gets home, he's allegedly playing. Notice after that, and I think I have one or two more examples at the end. They skip right over that. And again, you would think if they had nothing to do with it, and this was just, these would be the last 2 hours you had, because then you put them to bed, right? And then you have your one last interaction. But like, how come there's not more details about, what was his demeanor, right? If people, if they're really innocent and they want to get all the, details out there that they can, that could be important, especially about his mental well-being. Like, what was those allegedly 9 to 7, how was he acting, right? Did he show signs that he was not happy and felt, whatever. But I noticed, after those first 2 interviews, they mentioned like the trash thing, because I think they want to emphasize that he was home, which I do find suspicious. And then they skip to him going to bed, the thud, the phone call, and then the next morning. So I find that interesting.
What are your theories? No, what I've no theories. Morning, Kathy Bowersox was parked right beyond the Shell on New Hope. He said he had called it into Sumner County, but he hadn't heard anything back. And I believe Sebastian's dad called it in again. I'm sure footage has been pulled from the Shell right there. I don't know what other cameras would be right there. It looks like maybe there's like a storage unit kind of thing right beyond that Shell, Worsham's Market, And the only reason I really believe there is validity, number one, I didn't feel like the man was lying to me, but also it was anonymously posted from someone, I think it was someone else, because they described it a little bit differently.
You're talking about the mothers?
The Christopher's mother.
Okay.
Kathy Bowersox. Apparently has a decently recognizable SUV, probably because she's a real estate agent, that she was parked beyond Worsham's on the side of the road at 5:30 in the morning on February 26th, so about an hour before Sebastian was reported missing. I don't know. That's a little odd.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. But, we have footage where they were in Hendersonville eating, and they left there and went to their house.
Right.
We saw them go in the house, and then...
So again, like I said earlier, I do think, oh, thank you, Lisa. Oh, you're on your vacation. I hope you're having fun. And I do appreciate that. That is so awesome. Yeah, we'll finish up here. I'd say I was hoping to go a little faster. I'm sorry, guys. I really try to keep these down under 2 hours, but I didn't go live yesterday, so now it's kind of a combination of two lives. So I do apologize. But this will be interesting because we haven't really dived into this as much. But we'll try to go as quick, but get to the main points.
6:20 maybe, he comes out and takes the trash to the end of the road, at the end of the driveway. And we see him go back in the house, turn on some lights in his bedroom. That's it.
That was from a neighboring camera, I'm assuming. It's from a neighboring camera that you can see all that, yeah. And taking out the trash, was it pretty dark by then? That was before the time change? It was before the time change, right?
And
so here we'll just kind of go over the timeline and then get to this one part. Oh, thank you, Whitney. Oh, I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. Yeah, Adventures with Olivia. Is that Adventures now? Did she change it to Adventures? Because it used to be Chronicles, if I recall. I like both of them. Adventures, that sounds cool, though. So 6:20-ish, 6:23, that's them coming out, leaving. Of course, green hoodie. I do think. Now, I'm just going to be straightforward here. I know there's a good portion of people that think Yellow Jacket guy could be involved in this. I personally don't. That doesn't mean I'm right or wrong, right? Everybody has their theories. And I say it doesn't hurt to look at every avenue, right? So, examine everybody, right? Don't get tunnel vision. But me personally, I've seen, some of the theories, and they say that he just Sebastian's pictures on his cell phone. I don't know. I think to me that's a stretch. But again, you never know. With the stink feet, nothing would surprise me. So that's all I'll say about it, right? And it's always good to look at every avenue. So okay. So we'll just kind of run through this. But again, we have two scenarios, right, that we're talking about, because like I said, I'm a little 50-50. One of them being that on the way back home, Sebastian was, they kind of went down maybe a more of a back road as they were going back home. That was enough, maybe drive for 10 minutes or whatever, enough to have like some audio. Maybe she spoke to Sebastian and, and then maybe, because I'm sure Sebastian, no matter what, I'm sure he was probably exhausted. I mean, they did a lot, right, that day. And so maybe just having, just him, speak a few words, that's kind of like proof, hey, look, he's in the car. And then, she could easily go and stop at a stop sign, a four-way stop, and then there'd be another car that could easily just take Sebastian. That would be, one scenario. Or they continue on back home.
Trust me.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. But, we have footage where they were in Hendersonville eating, and they left there and went to their house.
Right.
We saw them go in the house, and then 6:20 maybe, he comes out and takes the trash to the end
So I do wonder, maybe that could have been 7:20.
of the road, at the end of the driveway. And we see him go back in the house, turn on some lights in his bedroom. That's it.
That was from a neighboring camera, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Which did he tell you about that?
About what?
That his little comment, he hadn't seen proof of life since.
But this is where, I do question, was that really him? And the way, this conversation goes down with the PI, Heather Chloe, and the Proud Feet, I don't know.
Friday or Thursday or Friday when I last saw or heard from my son.
Yeah, I'd heard about that comment.
And again, I don't know. Nancy Graves. I don't think that was Nancy. That had to have been before Nancy Graves. But, I don't blame, Seth being like, yeah, like, unless I can actually tell it's him, the last time I spoke to him was on Thursday or Friday. And then, he can see him at Texas Roadhouse, but that's it.
I mean, he hasn't said it to me, but I had heard about the comment.
But see, this is where, like, truth be told, this is where everything needs to come out.
He already knew that there was proof of life.
He knew there was proof of life prior to that. He started some shit. It caused a fucking stir. It caused a meeting. They showed him a video, Texas Roadhouse. They showed when they walked out of Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
He has seen a video of Sebastian at the fucking house Sunday night, taking the fucking trash out.
Right.
From inside Michael?
Yeah. So, okay, so you guys got...
Do you see the frustration where we have with your client?
Yeah, I do. But it's nice to have like a conversation with you instead of having to get everything, everywhere else. Definitely.
And we went home straight from Texas Roadhouse. And we were home for approximately 15 minutes before he took the trash out.
So yeah, going off that, they just switched directly there. I mean, I forget what it was, like 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the traffic time. So they left at 6:23-ish. We'll just round it off, 6:25. 6:35, 6 to 6:40, 6:45. So I think 7 o'clock, according to Katie. But then again, you know how honest they are.
And he is on video, and the FBI was able to clear it up and confirm that it's him. Even though you can tell it's him from a mile away because of how he runs, it's just, you can tell from his mannerisms. The second you look at it, it's him running, but still.
Notice she says you can't tell his face, you can't make out his face. So that really, to me, that almost more reinforces that this person was either wearing a hoodie, which is speculated, and or it was just like a blob, right? But basically she's saying the only way you could tell is him was the way he was running back. But to me, I don't know, that seems super sus.
So he took the trash about 15 minutes, and
where they were in Hendersonville eating, and they left there and went to their house.
Right.
We saw them go in the house, and then
So then, of course, we have the 3 a.m. stuff going on. We've covered that, and I've got the timeline here. She wakes up at 6 a.m., 6:03. She can't find Sebastian. Somewhere about 6:05, according to her words. She's already on the phone with Crispy. And then about 6:20, according to a neighbor, is when she was seen. And I think Sweetie Pilo even said that. This has come from the neighbor that had the footage. And I believe it's said that she's seen at 6:20. And maybe that's 6:20. Remember how Roy, the guy that was speaking, former Sheriff Sonny, maybe that's what he was referring to at 6:20. Maybe had a bunch of different time stamps in his head, but and that's when she comes out, and then allegedly at that same time she's out screaming, and then there's a neighbor walking their dog. There's supposedly a short conversation there, and then we estimate at 6:22 is when she leaves.
Here, prancing through the woods, enjoying the smell.
Now, this is where things get a little weird as well. And again, I want to say Shirley. Is it Cheryl? Just without the Y? Correct me. I guess it would be Cheryl. I'm used to a Y in there. Hopefully I got that right. Thank you so much, 724. I think it's tough because the wording's small right here. When you come in a member, but thank you so much. And Lady Rose, Sebastian Strong, bring him home, member for 9 months. And again, I know I mentioned this every live. I just want to say good things are happening behind the scenes. It's going to take a bit. I can't say a specific time frame. I want to say by the end of this month, at least the parts that I'm putting together for Twitter and for some other things. But the Twitter part should be ready well before the end of the year. And then again, that'll have all the major facts, and all my reports. We're just going to do a Twitter thread, and then we'll do a live. I'll post it, and then we'll try to, kind of boost that. And of course, tag TBI and FBI and all them. So here's that interview, basically one of the last interviews Chris and Katie have done on with any major outlet. And this was America's Most Wanted. This tells some very interesting stuff.
The breeze, new things. That's my son.
February 25th, the day before Sebastian went missing, Chris was in Memphis at work. So Sebastian and I went to Texas Roadhouse. After dinner, right around 9 o'clock, he laid down. I heard a noise in his room. I said, I don't care what you're doing, but you gotta knock it off and you gotta go to bed. And he answered, yes, ma'am. And I said, okay. And that was the last time that I spoke with Sebastian. The next morning, when I went in his room, he wasn't in his bed. After a minute or two, when I couldn't find him, I called Chris and I said, I can't find Sebastian. He's not in the house.
I got off of work and
look at Crispy. I know. I'm sorry to back this up. Look, does this look like especially this guy? Is this like he's completely bored? He does not want to be there. I mean, what a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Not really. Just look at this, man. Just ungrateful. You're on America's Most Wanted, one of the most well-known, when it comes to true crime, way before YouTube and true crimers came along, right? This was it, right? To get tips out there, to get the smaller cases out. And just look at the appreciation, right? Or the lack thereof. I mean, holy Christ.
Loves cats.
Boundless amounts of energy. Sebastian reminds me of a deer prancing through the woods, you know, enjoying the smell, the breeze, new things. That's my son.
February 25th, the day before Sebastian went missing, Chris was in Memphis at work. So Sebastian and I went to Texas Roadhouse. After dinner, right around 9 o'clock, he laid down. I heard a noise in his room. I said, I don't care what you're
I mean, look at that.
doing, but you gotta knock it off and you gotta go to bed. And he answered, yes, ma'am. And I said, okay. And,
Oh my gosh. Man. Oh, it gets me upset looking at that.
that was the last time that I spoke with Sebastian.
Just
The next
ungrateful.
morning, when I went in his room, he wasn't in his bed. After a minute or two, when I couldn't find him, I called Chris and I said, I can't find Sebastian. He's not in the house.
I got off of work and I had a text message from Sebastian's stepfather.
Yeah, not to mention, yeah, of course they'll leave this out, but one of the first things, don't be mad, and also don't forget, it's like they didn't text him like, hey, have you seen Sebastian? As in, none of that. Like the weirdest text messages from Crispy to Seth, right? And why was it Crispy? How come it's not Katie? I mean, I get there's a divide, but when it comes to Sebastian, I think that,
I said, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but Sebastian's missing.
I headed straight over to their house.
I started driving through the neighborhood. I was panicking.
So keep in mind the order she says. She said she's driving through the neighborhood first.
Looking everywhere, like, where is he?
And she is on Killen. For those that don't know, she is actually on Killen. That is after you go down Killen, I think. Is she going up Killen right now? She might be going up Killen. Anyway, I'm pretty sure she's on Killen now.
What happened? Did he go with someone?
Yeah, she's on Killen.
Did someone take him by the time I pulled into the school?
Okay, so in this, remember, this is one of the latest interviews, even though it's kind of old now. She was driving in the neighborhood. Now she is at the school.
Christopher was already telling me to turn around because the authorities were on their way.
So she's getting told to turn around at the school.
They used helicopters, they used drones, they used ATVs, horseback.
An extensive search didn't yield one significant lead or even.
So here's the question, right? So remember, and she said this a couple times. She says, I was driving through the neighborhood first, and then I went to the school. Now, I think she said that at least 2 to 3 times on different interviews. So to finish up, so what was the point of going to school, right? Because even the other side, on Elevated Truth, there's podcasts where, of course it's Crispy talking, of course Katie can't speak for herself. But, they're asking, yeah, why in the hell did you drive to the school? Like, all the mothers I've spoken to, they'd be like, yeah, I'd be driving up and down the neighborhood first before I did anything, right? You'd be in the immediate vicinity before you just drive right to the school. But I think it's interesting. She always wants to, even in America's Most Wanted, I'm driving through the neighborhood first. Now I go to the school. But we know that's not true. She left, because we have the camera footage. She left and she went right for the school. And so what was the point? Was to go to school, to go there, and she had already been on the phone, according to her, combining all of her interviews. According to her, she's on the phone with her husband by 6:05. If she got up around 6, and within a few minutes can't find Sebastian, and then immediately calls him. So I give it like a buffer of 5 minutes. So I say 6:05. By this point, it's well after 6:20, according to reports. Just barely over 6:20. So there's already been 15 minutes, at least 10 minutes of phone call between her, Crispy, and law enforcement. So how do you not know that in any second that they're going to be on their way there? So now there's two main entrances into this school. And it would be nice. I don't know if maybe somebody that's on a certain team that's watching. I know that other people have gotten, a certain team has gotten the footage from the school. I would love to know if they could share that timestamp. That's all I need. I don't need the footage. I mean, the footage would be nice, but I would love to know the timestamp and exactly where she's at. Timestamp the biggest. But where she's at would be the second biggest. And I'll show why.
Because I was looking for like potential meeting spots, drop-off points, exchanges, whatever she may have been doing. Now we're going back toward the front, correct?
That's a
I'm
good
not sure what
question.
happened because we'll call him Middle E.
We turned around.
Oh, we
there.
turned around.
Yes.
Well, I guess her car was in the garage, so I guess you could say at the very least she looked there because her car, because it wasn't outside, so her car was in the garage. So I guess, but I mean, I see what you're saying, right? There's a lot of places to look.
So now we're going along the front of the annex part of the high school.
Now, this is the longer way where, there's kind of like two main entrances. There's one that kind of takes you up closer to the actual entrances of the school.
It's on our left. Long Hollow Pike is on our right.
High school is very large.
Yes, this is a big campus. This high
Yes.
school's been around a while, so they've added on to it as it's grown.
That's right, Crystal. There are so many dumpsters everywhere.
Yeah, right. I mean,
exit on the east. Yeah, east.
yeah,
Yep,
I, mean,
I
it
agree
could have
with
been a place
that.
where she was dumping trash, but when we do the cameras, it'll kind of give us an idea.
So I may kind of shorten this because I going a little bit longer than I was expecting, but they are driving. So there's basically two main. I mean, there's another road right here, but there's this road here which gets you closer to the schools, and that's what they're driving. I think one they kind of go in the back here, but most part they're taking this road right here, which is the closest. Then there's this other road, which I believe is the one she took. I don't know 100%. But either way, I'm pretty sure she came out this over here. But that's where they're driving right now, which obviously puts you a little closer. This is the high school here.
Yeah, I think of whether or not she would have been caught. So now we're heading toward the main part of the high school,
which is here,
which is there on the left. You can kind of see it starting there.
And guys, I'm sorry this is so slow. I perfectly sure that we went
because it's the elementary school.
And this road right here is that one road I was telling you about. So they're driving right here. And so if they're to go left, then they take this path. And this is where we're going to get to the end of the video here.
And one other thing I thought was kind of interesting down to see it there behind that.
And shout out to Mr. and Mrs. E, True Crime.
But if you were
Crimecast,
he was apparently a fan
footage.
of those kind of.
So most likely, or a good chance, she had likely came in. Either way, but I would assume she probably took this one. I could be wrong. But either way, it's where they come out. That's
so basically, you can go behind.
And as we come up, this will kind of come full circle to what the former sheriff was talking about.
The high school.
Wow.
Okay. And cut around here to beach storage and Worsham.
So pause
Wow,
right here, right?
that's
Okay, hold on.
interesting. So,
Or, yeah,
so
or
the
just-
back exit that you can cut around the back of the school and go by the elementary.
No, there's no 911 call because that is why people believe they Crispy called the actual office, the actual sheriff's office or whatever. Instead of calling 911, because his excuse was, well, if I call 911, I get bounced around. And according to him, but somebody told me, like, when you call, you actually still have to speak to like an operator and then get transferred. So it's almost like the same thing. I could be wrong. I've never done it myself, so I can't say 100%, but somebody told me it's, you're really not cutting any shortcuts, but people think, they did that to avoid this, 911 call that may not, where they may not sound genuine, right? And that also the person that they're calling could be on the inside helping them corrupt. But it's where she comes out of.
Comes out right by Worsham's in the storage facility.
It does.
Wow.
And this gets you thinking, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
that was one of my theories at the beginning, or not the beginning, but I said that because I've driven on this road before. So that was one of my things.
So let's say you had a plan and you needed to drop something or swap something or whatever in this storage facility lot or in one of the units themselves, but your cover was going to be, oh, I'm going to go to the school to look for Sebastian, and I'm going to make a big show of it. I'm going to drive all over the parking lot. I'm going to act frantic and looking, but when I leave out the side.
Yeah.
And I go across the street
where
to my real
allegedly
Girl Mom, thank you so much. Nick Barris did the story on the flashlights, right? Yes. If those were headlights, why is that not in the video? That is a great question. I think he may have known that he might have been getting in trouble just with the flashlight alone. I think the vehicle, because that would be something, especially if they were to be able to enhance that, even though he didn't have the original, that would not be let's just say, if this case got solved a lot quicker and that vehicle they could make out that vehicle, that is something you wouldn't want out there immediately, because that could actually, because then they could go and get rid of that vehicle, right? The people responsible. So I could definitely see why you may not want to show that. Although I guess if you're really showing the 3M lights, then those people responsible would probably still know. But yeah, I mean, I guess I can't fully get under, I could kind of give my view of it, but that would be the longest passing headlights I've ever seen on camera. Oh no, I see what you're saying. Oh wait, no, I kind of got sidetracked. Oh no, gosh, I feel terrible now. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great statement. I'm sorry. I misread that. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds so stupid. Why are headlights 1 minute 24 seconds exactly? Especially if they're way out there, right? Because the further they're out there, just the shorter of the light you're going to see. Yeah, exactly, Girl Mom. I mean, absolutely crazy. I'm sorry, I completely misread that at the beginning.
Yeah, total theory, but easily.
Well,
so the theory is, for those that don't know, which I'm sure most do, but again, and this has got a lot of weight to it, is Kathy Mama Socks was seen at the Shell gas station and or Worsham's, which is really, it's the same thing. I guess, it's the Shell gas, the company, but Worsham's, that's the store, but they're the same entity. And so she was allegedly seen around 5:30. And again, they say around 5:30, so it could be earlier, it could be a little bit later. And again, you have not only one, but allegedly two witnesses saying that, yeah, she was seen there. And then it just so happens that you're taking this route that Katie took would pop you out right at the shed and the unit that they allegedly also have a unit there. And Mama Socks.
Screen for this.
This is across the street from both the Beach High School and.
So the question is what did they exchange there? So I guess another theory you could go is, well, maybe they didn't move them that night, but maybe they wanted to do a ruse with the flashlights, right? Or maybe there was still some kind of exchange of something. But let's say she did something to him, over medicated him, and she put him in the car, right? She had him in the car this entire time. And then she drove that morning with Sebastian, maybe still alive, but passed out with drugs, whatever. And then you got Mama Socks.
Beach High School, the element.
Sorry, let me turn down our Crimecast crew. But Mama Socks is there waiting, and they do some kind of handoff here, or at the, you've got this, oops. Oh my gosh. Last 5 minutes, I promise. And then don't forget, there was some weird items that a group of people found over there. May be related, may not be. A mattress. Oh, like what the hell happened? But as you can see here, I don't know exactly. Some say she was parked right here, which again is right by the units. That allegedly maybe they have one or two there. So could there have been an exchange of items, Sebastian? So many different things. And last thing here, I don't skip it. Maybe it's after this.
Morning, Kathy Bowersox was parked right beyond the Shell on New Hope. He said he had called it into Sumner County, but he hadn't heard anything back. And I believe Sebastian's dad called it in again. I'm sure footage has been pulled from the Shell right there. I don't know what other cameras would be right there. It looks like maybe there's like a storage unit kind of thing right beyond that Shell, Worsham's Market, And the only reason I really believe there is validity, number one, I didn't feel like the man was lying to me, but also it was anonymously posted from someone, I think it was someone else, because they described it a little bit differently.
You're talking about the mother's?
The Christopher's mother.
Okay.
It was someone else. That's it.
And now I just want to point out before anybody freaks out, this is not the same storage that I've got. So here we have Mama Socks in a post January 18th. You can see her this looks like a U-Haul because it's got the orange. So no, this is not the same one, but it just shows that, they do have storage. And is it far-fetched that, of course, that the Stink Feet would have storage? And, there's storage sheds right there. If there's availability, I don't see why you wouldn't take it. And last thing, and I'll get to chat here. Thank you, Hobo's mom. I appreciate that. Thank you for your amazing work, Chris and Mods. Last thing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm much longer than I wanted to, too. So this is the question. Why take the drive? First, you claim that you drove through the neighborhood multiple times first, which is incorrect. Unless you consider just driving from your home and exiting out Kelly and driving through a neighborhood, which is pretty pathetic, but okay. According to this drive here is 4 minutes. We heard, one thing we know is that she was Speedy Gonzalez in the school thing. And really, what's the point? You get here, and again, you've already been on the phone for at least 10 to 15 minutes. You know at any second, because if you're on the three-way, you should be able to hear what's going on. That's what a three-way call is. And you should know that they're going to be going there very soon. So here's the other question is, but she would have some time, she would have if this was like a 3-minute trip and a 3-minute trip back, that still gives her another 3 to 4 minutes that she could easily meet up with Mama Socks here, drop something off, maybe exchange something, And then here's the weird thing is she says that here she gets the notification that they're on their way and that she needs to get back home. Well, what does she do after she gets that notification? She drives up Kellen at 6:32 because this is right after the school. So hopefully everybody got that time. So, she left allegedly around 6:20, 6:22 at the school for 10 minutes. And then she's seen here going up Kellen, not going on to Stafford, but going up Kellen and then doing a quick U-turn. But again, this is allegedly after she, one, already said she went through the neighborhood. And then second, if now she's got the notification that, they're on their way, well, why is she driving up this neighborhood? And then the other last thing is allegedly dispatch doesn't put this out until 6:33. Remember, we have a 6:33 dispatch. So how did they know ahead of time if she's already driving around? If she got alerted that they're on their way, but yet they didn't get dispatched until 6:33. Well, how does that work? It's 6:32. Hopefully you guys get what I'm saying. That doesn't line up. And again, it wouldn't surprise me as, when you're lying, you're going to get caught. But yeah. So we got 87%. Oh, wow. We got 400 votes on this one. 87% scripted, 10% not sure. And we got like 1 or 2 naysayers with 3%. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing, Alyssa. Yeah, great point. Yeah, they wouldn't let, they wouldn't let America's, yep. Yeah, what was she doing if she was there? Yeah, oh, thank you, Doctor. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people still analyzing that Texas Roadhouse. I don't blame them. You never know what might be in there that somebody could have missed. I agree. There's some other things that happened earlier that day. Eventually, maybe I can kind of more go into details that were seen on surveillance as far as the bowling alley and JB's. But yeah, again, I can't really say right now, but let's just say, they say, oh, they had such a happy time when they're at the bowling alley and arcade. Well, apparently what's on the camera speaks highly different of that. Now, I haven't seen it personally, so I can't say 100%, so take that with a grain of salt, but that comes from a pretty good source, so and you've even heard Seth himself say like his son did not seem like, in a good mood and did not seem like himself. He seemed nervous. Yeah. Yeah, the non-emergency line. Yeah, I don't know. Did I say Sumner County? Yeah, the non-emergency line that takes you to where. Yeah, I'm sorry if I worded that wrong. Yeah, yeah, which sounds ridiculous because from what I understand, somebody called that and said like, well, you still get routed to. You still have to like speak to one person to get routed to another. I could be wrong, but that came from a pretty good source as well. So, and I mean that's pretty much what 911 does. But 911, that goes to all these different agencies. We know that, like, it goes out to the fire department. Whoever they need for that particular scenario. So yeah, it's stupid. Yeah, yeah, Marie. Yeah, yeah. I think some other people talked about it on other channels that may be a little bit closer to Seth that have some kind of knowledge of that. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I'd assume. But yeah, yeah. Apparently, they claim he's having all this wonderful time, but apparently that's not the case. And when you look at him at the Texas Roadhouse, he looks disconnected. I mean, he looks overstimulated, and yeah. Anyway, guys, so tomorrow I'll hopefully do 2 lives, but I'm gonna definitely do a members live where we're gonna start doing some pet outros again, and we'll work on that with the members. So I've been wanting to get back on that. One other thing, this comes up like once a year or something, but just in case, if you are kind of newer to YouTube and memberships, if you bought like a membership, because once a great while I'll get emailed by somebody that's like, hey, like, oops,
Definitely.
sorry, I'm a member, but I don't want to be a member anymore because I'm on a tight budget, and they think that I handle like the renew and the billing and all that. Us YouTubers don't handle that stuff. We only see who's a member, what level of member you are, and that's it. When it comes to billing, that's all on YouTube side. So you have to just look up YouTube memberships, like cancellation or whatever, and then there's like a thing you go through. So I just wanted to point that out just in case of that person's listening. I did email them back, but I know some people are kind of newer to it and may think that the creators are the ones that deal with that, but no, because that would just be a nightmare. I wonder, Lana. I think there's at least one camera. Oh, thank you, Happy. I think there's at least one other camera in there, but I don't know. Maybe like that camera wasn't recording or it got recorded over. I would think they would have at least. I would think they would definitely cover other angles than that one. So it's just matter. Did they was that camera recording, or did it get recorded over, or I mean, so many variables, right? But yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Julie. Oh, that's awesome. That's right, Hush Pup. Oh, yeah, exactly, right? Garbage night. Yeah, and school, but yeah, I think the garbage night is almost, yeah. But yeah, yep, and school. Yeah, that's a great point, Hush Pup. And again, thank you so much for those gifted memberships the other week. That's so awesome. All right, guys, hope you have the rest of a good Saturday or Sunday, depending on where you're at. We'll be back tomorrow. We will try to do some, again, we'll so it doesn't get stale. We'll try to do like one or two, at least one case, a different case a week. But again, by the time we get to December, hopefully you guys fully understand, as I have my whole report ready. I'd say I'm like at least halfway done with it. And again, this is something I've talked about, and this will go on Twitter, and yeah. And this will be a team effort. So thank you to my wonderful mods, Lisa, Sassy, Jennifer. I think I saw D in here. And I'm gonna forget somebody because sometimes yeah. And Jazz, I know and Jazz is kind of in and out, and I don't blame her. She's, I don't want to speak for her, but sometimes people have health issues or other things come up. But thank you to my wonderful mods, and to everybody taking the time. If you haven't, hit that like button on your way out. We will see you guys tomorrow.